Welcome to the AWC Time and Attendance video demonstration. We will discuss its current features and benefits. We will start with enrollment. Associate information comes from the Ceridian payroll system and can be saved locally as a CSV file. For this demo, we have two new associates, John Doe and Jane Doe. The payroll admin will log into the application. Click on Import, Ceridian Import. Browse to the Ceridian file. Select it. Select their facility, in this case we'll use Ottawa, and click Import. The facility roster is now updated. The new associates will need to enroll in the time clock. If the new associate tries to clock in before enrollment, the time clock will error and say it must be enrolled. To enroll, the supervisor will press Enroll, enter in their number, place their hand, enter in the new associate's number, in this case this will be Jane, and Jane will place her hand on the time clock to register. It may take several attempts to get a complete reading. The time clock will display a message when registered successfully. Once registered, Jane may begin clocking in and out. After associates have finished their work for the day, the supervisor will need to go and allocate their time to the correct labor distribution. This is done in the time entry page. To select a subset of associates, you can filter by operating unit, department, job code, shift, or teams. We'll select the rail team. John and Jane are not on the team, so we will need to add them under Facility, Manage Teams, Manage Team Members. Find John and Jane and add them to the team. Back on the time entry page, we will select the team, and you can see John and Jane are on the rail team. Select the appropriate date, and the grid to the right will update. Clock punches flow from the time clock and will appear on the application here. A status column will show that there are hours to be allocated. Because John and Jane were not able to clock in, a message will display that their punch is missing. We can allocate to several associates at once. Click on Allocate to Group. Let's say that the team worked in Ottawa North for rail loading in the rail department. We will leave the shift as first shift and for regular pay code. Enter in 8 hours and click Update. This will apply the values to everyone in the team. The status and variance columns are indicators that there are still 2 hours left to be allocated. We will allocate those 2 hours to overtime. Click Update and it will apply to everyone in the team. The variance is now 0 and the status now has a check mark, indicating that there are no more hours left. Because John has a missing punch, it would be useful to add a note stating the reason why. To add a note, click Edit, and we'll put John enrolled later in the day, so he was unable to clock in the morning. Click Update to save the note, and we will do the same for Jane. After reviewing all the entries, the supervisor will need to approve the entries. Clicking Approve All Allocations will update the status to Supervisor Final. And now it's ready for Payroll Admin to review. The Payroll Admin will log in and go to the time entry screen to review the entries. Select Rail as a team and select the day to update the grid. The Payroll Admin will see an extra column that the supervisor will not see, the wage column. After reviewing all the entries, the Payroll Admin has the option to reject a record if it's incorrect. To reject, click the reject button and add a note. We will tell the supervisor to adjust to 5 hours for rail and 3 hours for yard. We will also reject the 2 hours of overtime because John started later than everyone else. The records will be updated and the status will show as rejected. When the supervisor logs back in, they will see the rejected records on the very first page. Going back to time entry, the supervisor can just select John and the day to edit those records. We will delete the 2 hours of overtime according to the notes. We will edit the leftover record and adjust the 8 hours to 5 hours. We will also add a note saying that this has been done. Click Update to save. We will add a new line for the other 3 hours. Click New Time Allocation. Change department to yard, position to van driver, and change the hours to 3 hours. Click Update to save. After reviewing the records, the supervisor will need to click Approve All Allocations and the status will update to Supervisor Final for the payroll admin to review. The payroll admin will need to review the records, so let's check up on John and Jane. And let's also say that one of the business rules is if an employee works 4 hours or more in a higher paid job, then the employee receives that wage for the entire day. So John physically worked as a van driver but will need to be paid at the rail loading rate. Since wages are tied to the job performed, we will need to do a wage override in John's case. Click Edit, click Override, select the rail loading rate, and be sure to add a note. Click Override to save, and you will see the wage is now updated to the rail loading rate. Let's say Jane is entitled to a signing bonus. We can allocate lump sums of money by clicking Earning Allocations, New Earning Allocation, charge it to the correct department, and we will enter in $100 as her signing bonus, and be sure to include a note. Click Update to save. In preparation for Monday payroll, the payroll admin will need to do a final review. We will select the rail group and review all the entries. Check that our notes are there. And after reviewing, the payroll admin can click Approve All Allocations, and the status will update to Payroll Admin Approved. The records are now ready for payroll. Reports are highly customizable and are great tools for any kind of analysis. To get there, click on the Reports button, and the first report on the list is Allocation Export Preview. This report can be used to preview the records that Ceridian will see. After selecting the appropriate criteria, the report will display the payroll file. Since Ottawa is actually not live yet for this system, the facility will say not configured. We've added a red box indicator to show that a value may be missing, but in this case Jane is okay because she had a lump sum signing bonus, and there are no hours for that. We've also added total hours, total rates, and total amounts to ensure there's a match between the payroll system and ours. You can save the file as CSV format that can be uploaded into Ceridian or in other formats for review. The clock punch report will display all punches from the biometric time clock that can be used for things like tracking physical attendance. The wage to revenue report displays hours and pay broken down by day that is required for entry into the finance system. After selecting the appropriate values, the report will display below. This report can drill down into detail levels, showing how each total is arrived at. The time and attendance system provides many benefits for the company. In using biometric clocks, we eliminate paper time cards, prevent buddy punching, computerize the information and store it in a centralized database. We have the ability to immediately report on attendance and track its history. For the time and attendance application, we involve multiple roles to facilitate check and balance. We can quickly allocate in groups or allocate individually to address exceptions. We have wage control determined by the contract, automated wage selection that ensures pay accuracy, controlled wage override to accommodate complex business rules, customized reporting, and system-generated payroll file to avoid data corruption, and many more possibilities and benefits for the future.